Welcome back to CCM Then and Now, where we look at the songs that shaped contemporary Christian music and the stories behind them. Today we're reflecting on possibly one of David Meece's most emotional songs and one that is deeply personal for me, My Father's Chair. Written out of his own painful childhood experiences, this song has touched countless listeners with its honesty about loss, forgiveness, and discovering God as the true Father. The song was written by David Meece, Debbie Meece, and Dwight Lyles. My Father's Chair appears on David Meece's 11th studio album, Once in a Lifetime, released in 1993. According to sources, Meece reflected on a difficult childhood and relationship with his father. I won't delve into that history, but rather say that for me personally, this song has tremendously deep meaning and significance due to growing up fatherless, never knowing my father until later in life, always believing and seeing God as my true Heavenly Father. It was around 1993 that I saw David Meece in a July 4th concert in Las Colinas, Texas. I recall that he sat at the piano and performed My Father's Chair, which God used to change the trajectory of my life. In full context of my journey is to share at another time, but suffice to say that I could relate to the three chairs depicted in the song, which we will review next. Again, personally, I think of my experience as two opposing but connected songs. First, Papa Was a Rolling Stone by The Temptations. Then second, My Father's Chair, going from being fatherless to becoming a loving father and finally to being the son of the Heavenly King. I would like to extend my appreciation to David Meece and collaborators for this song. In David Meece's song, My Father's Chair, there are three chairs mentioned. Actually, three scenes or types of fathers using the metaphor of chairs, each corresponding to a different father and showing a progression: the absent, failed father, the present, loving father, and then the Heavenly Father. Here are the three types and their significance. The earthly father who is absent or failing, that chair is empty and covered in sheets of gloom. This father is physically or emotionally missing. There may be abuse, alcoholism, abandonment, and or absenteeism. The first chair represents deep hurt, longing, unmet needs. It's the foundation of the pain that the singer experienced. The absence of a healthy father figure leaves wounds around identity, security, and love. Personally, many years ago, I had the privilege of attending men's fraternity at a local church, which helped me to identify my own father wound due to being abandoned at a young age, essentially never meeting my father. In the second chair, the narrator describes his own chair, his role as a father. He wants his children to see his chair as a place of love and unconditional acceptance. This chair is in a loving room. The idea is that he doesn't want to repeat the absence or failures, but instead to offer presence, care, and healing. This is restorative. It shows a turning point, not just being wounded, but choosing to be different. It's about trying to break the cycle, bringing healing for oneself and for one's children. It reflects growth, forgiveness, and responsibility. Personally, as a father of 3 grown boys and a grandfather of 9, this is the chair I envision for our family, essentially changing the trajectory of our family from a legacy of empty chairs to homes filled with loving chairs. The third scene is the heavenly future final chair, the Father in heaven, the ultimate Father, whose throne is perfect, eternal, never absent. The chair in a royal room, glory beyond the tomb. This is the place of acceptance, security, never crying again, eternal air. This heavenly chair in a royal room offers hope and completion. Where the earthly father failed or was absent, God will make things right. This chair points to ultimate restoration and identity in God. It provides spiritual healing, closure, and identity. This is the song's crescendo, but in meaning and musically. Tears well up in my eyes, and heart longs for identity and belonging to a Heavenly Father. Knowing this is assured through my faith in God's Son Jesus creates a longing for my heavenly home, but also knowing that this is already exists in the present life. In summary, the song uses the metaphor of a chair to symbolize the role of a father, and especially presence, acceptance, protection, and love. The three chairs trace a journey from hurt and absence through effort and redemption to divine ultimate fatherhood. It acknowledges pain, but doesn't stop there. It points to healing, both in David Meece's life, having been hurt, then being a father, then finding restoration in God, and in the lives of listeners who resonate with that journey, like myself. So while My Father's Chair tells David Meece's very personal story, the spiritual depth comes from the way it points listeners to God as the ultimate Father who fills the empty chair and mends the broken places. My hope is that you may also find significance, healing, and hope as I did through this song. Finally, scriptural references associated with this song refer to God as Father to the fatherless, Psalm 68:5. A father to the fatherless, a defender of widows, is God in his holy dwelling. This directly speaks to the void expressed in the song when David longs for his earthly father's embrace. God's comfort in grief, 2 Corinthians 1:3-4. The Father of compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble. This mirrors the lyrics where the ache of absence is met with divine comfort. God's abiding presence, Hebrews 13:5. Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. This echoes the contrast in the song. While an earthly father may be absent, the heavenly Father never abandons his children. Adoption into God's family, Romans 8:15-16. The Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship, and by him we cry, Abba, Father. This expresses the idea of finding identity and belonging in God as Father, even in the absence of an earthly parent. Healing brokenness, Psalms 34:18. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. This parallels the raw grief in the song and the healing journey through God's nearness. Thanks for joining me in exploring the story and meaning behind David Meece's My Father's Chair and my own personal journey. This powerful song reminds us that even when earthly fathers fall short, our Heavenly Father's love remains constant and unshakable. If this message touched your heart, I'd love to hear from your thoughts on your own story in the comments. If you are a CCM artist and would like to collaborate on a song review, drop me a message. I'd love to hear from you. And if you'd like more timeless stories of faith for today, be sure to like, subscribe, and share so others can experience these songs of hope. I'm Lonnie, and this has been CCM Then and Now. See you next time.